Now if you come on down to Highbury, you can see Thierry Henry. He is the best player you will ever see. Thierry Henry. Now if you come on down to Highbury.
Hello and welcome back to From Dial Square to Where with the elite of the elites here. Look at this. I mean, just look at this panel. Honestly, George has just gone. I don't know where George has gone now. That's a bit strange.
He was the only one that was elite as well. He's got
exactly, yeah. Look at that. Anyway, hopefully he'll be back in a second. But yeah, joining me tonight. Unfortunately, Kunjam's called away to an emergency at work, so he couldn't make it. But look at this, at least for these substitutes, amazing. Melvin, great to have you back, mate.
Yeah, thanks very much. So looking forward to this. It's been some time, but I'm raring to go.
That's great. Excellent. Great to have you back. And also Sam, Klopp's False Teeth. He's got, for those listening on the audio, his name on the screen is Klopp's False Teeth. How are you, mate? You're right.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me on, Andrew. It's great to see you again and the rest of the guys here. They're legends of the YouTube universe, so it's great to be on with you guys.
Yeah, it's brilliant to have you back as well. And Ryan, long time no see.
Yeah, only 24 hours. You too.
Yeah, very good. Thanks, mate. Good to have you back on board as well. Thanks for coming on. And George is back, thankfully. How are you, George?
I'm good. Thanks. Sam did say legends of YouTube. I was going to say, yeah, legends of YouTube, and then George.
You're a legend too, mate.
Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely, you are. Indeed. Well, it's great to have everyone here. Got a lot to talk about. I mean, we had a smash and grab at Leeds. We had some good performances, but then obviously some bad performances, but we gritted win, like we always like, going up north, nicking the 3 points and getting on the train and coming home again as quick as possible. That's what it's all about. But we've got obviously some games coming up as well. But, I mean, this is our best start, I believe, since 1904. Obviously football did exist before the Premier League started. Everyone goes on about, best start in the Premier League. But it's actually our best start in 118 years, which is quite phenomenal, really. When you can think about all the amazing teams we've had in the past, that we've actually achieved this in this day and age. So I don't care what anyone says. I've seen a lot of people complaining about the performance against Leeds, and it wasn't the best. But after the tough European tie as well, where we actually went to come back with virtually no training in between, getting up to Leeds and for a tough away game and winning, I'm all over that. 3 points is 3 points, and it's 1-0 to the Arsenal, so I'm really happy about it. But I'll come to you first, Melvin. I mean, just overall, generally, it's a tough watch in the second half, especially. But how are you feeling since we've had a couple of days now to calm down about it all? You said offline it made you so angry you had to go and chat to your wife, which is amazing. It must be
I spoke to my wife because I just couldn't take it anymore. I wanted something to take my mind away from football. So I prefer to get a racking from her. It's much easier than watching the Arsenal sometimes. Not normally, but on that day it was. So, the second half was hard work. It reminded me horrible memories. It reminded me of the 90 minutes against Newcastle at the end of the season when we could not get a hold of the ball.
Yeah,
it was like a bit of soap. And I thought, we got past all that. Yes, they were good leagues, don't get me wrong. But I still believe that if we could have got hold of the ball and put them under pressure, attack them, the game would have been so different. The second half would have been so different. But we seem to just sacrifice everything and sit back. I mean, we did the same thing last year against Manchester United at Old Trafford when we were 1-0 up. We just camped on the edge of our area and asked teams to come at us. We were ashamed. Listen, I loved it. We showed a bit of grit. We got through. Yes, we did make some bad mistakes, actually, and luck was sort of favouring us. So not complaining about that. Never do when luck goes on our side. But it was very, very tough to watch being an Arsenal. Every second of the game, you were just praying for that second to go and the next one to come and go. And it wasn't. We've been spoiled this year because the football's been so good. Even the first half, we played quite well, but we've been spoiled because it's been such exciting football. And a lot of games we've sat there, haven't we? We've sat there going, "Oh, this is all right. I want to go 20 minutes, no problem. Let's enjoy it." and we couldn't enjoy that second half. It was unusual for us. A little bit like the European game in the week, which for other reasons we were under the cosh because of the pitch, because we didn't have a 100% first teamer. It was freezing cold and blah blah. You make all the excuses, and it was a tough place. I mean, they haven't been beaten in years that mob at home, have they? So
No.
they can't be that bad at home. So to get 2 results like that, and I've been to Leeds loads of times, however good or bad they are, the crowd get behind them. They're amazing support, Leeds United supporters, and you know that you cannot let your guard down, because if you do, that's it. So no, very pleased. Let everyone call us what they want. We've still got the 3 points. Thank you very much. And off we go, ready for Thursday night.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I couldn't disagree with any of that, mate. It was a tough watch, but yeah, the Leeds came with a good game plan. They did play really well. You have to hand it to them. I mean, they did have a week to prepare for the game, unlike us. But I thought they actually played really well on the day. But same sort of question to you, really, Sam. What do you particularly put the performance down to? Just a lot of fatigue, Leeds playing really well, mixture of both, other stuff. I mean, what do you put it down to, really? Because it was probably our worst performance in the Premier League of the season. But, there's a lot of mitigating circumstances. But in the day, still come out with a win.
Yeah, I think Mervyn hit on a lot of good points there. I think the 2 major factors in this game were actually a little bit of, it's a little bit of fatigue in terms of, like you say, you're traveling all the way up to the north of Norway, which is a bit of a trek actually. Then you're right back, and then you haven't got time to train. Then you're up to Leeds, or you're just doing basically warm downs. You're not really doing proper team training. Then you're up to Leeds straight away, and then Leeds are going to give you 110%. They're going to make you work, they're going to make you bust your guts, so you're going to get tired. And I do think, because we're not used to that, right? Last season we didn't play European football, so I think it's the combination of going Thursday, Saturday, these 2 games a week, and now we're having this colossal month where we're playing up to 3 games a week. It is going to the team is going to feel it. We're going to, especially in the second half, I think we're going to see performances drop off a little bit in the second half. When you add that to, you got to give Jesse Marsh a lot of credit, because what he did for the second half, he changed tactics, and he decided to push us much higher up the pitch and to attack directly the space behind our fullbacks, where we leave the most space, and just playing directly back in there all the time. They got a huge amount of success, especially up their left side, and it just pinned us back all the time. Instead of playing through midfield, they just went straight over into the back and just pinned us back, kept pinning us back, and they had a huge amount of success with that. It was
Bamford played a big part in that, didn't he?
Very good tactical move by Jesse Marsh, and it was difficult for us to cope, all the running around we had to do. And when we got the ball, we were tired. It was hard to keep hold of the ball. So, yeah. But like everyone said, to go to Leeds and play them like that, and that performance they had in the second half, yes, we were slightly lucky in terms of a couple of decisions went our way and stuff. And, they had some chances. But at the end of the day, football's football. You got to take your chances when they come, and it was a fantastic win, a really fantastic win, because I don't think any of these last seasons we would have managed to do that. We wouldn't have managed to gone to Leeds and put in that performance and won that game. No way, because we wouldn't have had that, that ability to do it. So, no, at the end of the day, it's still a great win.
Definitely, yeah. And I think that one thing we haven't sort of spoken about yet was the massive gap at the beginning of the game, where we kicked off and started, played 90 seconds or whatever it was, and then it was halted for about half an hour. Yeah. And I think that this season, a big part of our play has been starting really quickly and really getting a grip on the game very early doors. And quite often we scored really early as well. But that may have played a part as well, because with having to go in and go out and come back and warm up again and start again, that probably disrupted the game plan.
It must have affected us. it must have affected us, our preparation and you know, in terms of we start the game and then we have to stop, and it's like we're preparing for a new game again. It must have affected us.
Yeah, I think so. What do you think, Ryan? I mean, we didn't really. I think we touched a bit on it in your show yesterday, but I think that the fact that we do generally this season make really early starts in games and really get a grip on it quickly, that could have made a big difference.
Well, as you say, we did sort of touch on it last night, and I did bring it up myself and say that it did, obviously it did in the second half more so than in the first. It's got to have an effect, as you say. We played Thursday, we've come back, done, as Sam says, done the warm downs, not had proper training like we usually would before the Premier League game, sorry. And then we're away to Leeds. We've arrived. We've done a warm up, an original warm up. We've gone in, got ourselves mentally prepared for the game, and if that ever gone out. Game kicks off, and 90 seconds in, the referee's calling everything to a halt because he can't communicate with anyone on the his fourth officials or VAR. Everything comes to a grinding halt, and then suddenly, both sets of players, not just you got to bring these into this as well. Both sets of players are like, there's a stand on the pitch waiting for the issue to be fixed, and when it's not fixed after 5 minutes, they've been told, in you go, back into your dressing room until we sort this out. He then comes out initially, starts banging the post, apparently, according to Gary, and then goes back in, then comes back out again. The players then come back out, and then they've been told, "Oh, you got to warm up again for another 15 minutes before we kick the game off again." And yeah, that's gonna have a major impact on our initial, for me anyway, on our initial game plan, because you don't know how that game would have played out if it had played out normally in normal circumstances without that hassle of that technical issue that the referees had on Sunday. It could have played out completely different, but it is what it is. But the main thing is we got out of the 3 points at the end of the day. No matter what anyone says, and Jermaine Pennant's now pissing me off. But we'll get into that probably later in the show. But he's pissing me off now, so it is what it is. But I'm as with all that taken into consideration, I'm just happy the team, as Sam says and Melvin said already, we got out of there with the 3 points. And like Sam says, in years gone, but last season we've seen it times we crumbled. Years before that, even under Unai Emery, even the last couple of years of Wenger, we'd crumble in that situation.
Yeah,
and that shows the mentality of this young squad now. The second youngest squad on average in the league, and they're learning. They've not completely. They're not making not completely squad yet, but they are taking note of the mistakes from last year, and they are coming. They're working as good because they're so young together. Majority of them anyway. It's like we mentioned about the Invincibles. They all hit their peak at the right time at the same time, and things like that. This is very similar in the sense of they're all developing together, they're all learning together, majority, apart from the likes of the experience of Partey and Xhaka. They're all developing as a unit. That's only going to benefit us in the long run.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. George, let's move on slightly about this game. Talk about these controversial incidents or supposedly controversial incidents that we're now away for once. Same as last week. I titled the show last week "Lucky, Not Lucky," in the respect that the decisions, if you go through them all, watch them all back, and the VAR did, obviously, as well as us fans, they were correct decisions that were made. But in seasons gone by, we would fully expected them to go the other way. We wouldn't have expected them to actually be awarded in our favour, even though they were actually correct, because they were quite marginal, quite soft. But like I said, in my opinion, they were correct decisions. Both the Gabriel one right at the end that we're talking about, and excuse me, the goal that was disallowed right at the beginning of the second half for Leeds as well. I still think that could have easily gone either way, that goal. I know that a lot of people are saying, it's clear foul, but I've seen it back loads of times, and I still think it was quite soft, to be honest, and we were quite lucky to get away with it. But anywhere else on the pitch, like people say, it could have been a foul. But you have to use the rule whereby, if it happened at the other end of the pitch, how would I feel? And I would have been seriously pissed off if that got disallowed for Arsenal. So let's talk about those. What are your opinions on them? From what you
So the thing with the goal that I think some people are forgetting about is the thing that got completely missed before that was the offside. As well.
Yeah, exactly.
So for me, like if we're actually sticking to VAR rules that I keep hearing all season, it don't matter about the goal or the foul because the offside comes first, surely.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you, if that was Jesus in, I think it was Bamford's position, I bet that offside would have been named straight away. So I think it was the right decision. I think Bamford thought he was at extreme rules against Gabriel on that Sunday. Like, man, it was like a WWE pay-per-view with them two. And then the Gabriel thing at the end of the game, I was surprised. I thought Gabriel was going to go. I know the lash out, what he done wasn't nothing to write home about, but it's just, I think the last couple of weeks, Gabriel's been I don't want to say lucky, I'd say fortunate. Because if that was someone else who plays for Arsenal, that was definite red. Yeah, I agree with you. I think actually, if you're looking at it on VAR rules, they're the right decisions. So we've just been. I don't like saying lucky because there's been decisions this season what we should have had. Like I still swear that Martinelli's goal against Man United should stand.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah,
like, and that's down to VAR, which we didn't get, and all this bullshit. Sorry for language, calling us Arsenal is ridiculous. We've had a couple of decisions, and then all the rats on the media, they're like crawling out their little holes, aren't they? So. I think they were right decisions. Like obviously, if they go the other way, you're going to be a bit frustrated with them. But from like obviously not being able to see it, but the Gabriel one towards the end of the game, it wasn't even in the penalty box, was it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Because some people were saying that it wasn't like they didn't understand why it was a penalty, but I don't know. Like Bamford gives as much as he can. Like he should be able to take as much as he gives out because. Like I don't think Gabriel responds the way he does if Bamford don't do what he does. So I don't particularly like Bamford anyway. So probably the wrong person to ask it.
No, I was completely didn't have any feelings either way towards Bamford, but now I hate every single fibre of his being.
Mate, his penalty's wider than my waistline, so it's fine.
Like, you need. Like I said yesterday, he needs a haircut as well. What's going on there? Whether he's trying to grow a man bun or something.
One thing I will say about Leeds, I think they're in a false position. If they keep him fit, they'll be way up that table. So for us to put a performance in that, and I honestly could not give two damns how we play. If we play like that 1-0 all the rest of the games of the season, won the league, I would not care.
Exactly.
So
a win's a win. Back to 89, 91.
Well, yeah, like can you imagine some of the Twitter fan base when 1-0 to the Arsenal, George Graham, they'd be on antidepressants and everything. They wouldn't be able to deal with it after one game. Just celebrate. We've won a game. Yeah, we did. Maybe Leeds were the better side of the second half and stuff like that. We got the win. It doesn't matter. Like if we got a 1-0 win against City after City absolutely battering us, and just someone scores right at the last minute, they can say, "Oh no, we didn't play well." So what?
Exactly. Oh no, get over it.
A lot of people do it for clickbait, though, don't they? On Twitter, they put the clicks and say what they've got to say, and then they get another 500, 600 followers.
Yeah, I know exactly. But Melvin, I mean, I thought it was a toss-up at one stage for man of the match for Arsenal between Ramsdale and Gabriel at the back. I thought he had a magnificent game, absolutely magnificent game. And then everyone, because it was right at the end, excuse me, tarnished a little bit because of his slight flick out with his leg in that situation with Bamford. But didn't make contact for a start. It was a clear foul by Bamford. So yeah, but at the same time, like I mentioned just before I spoke to George, I thought, oh shit, he's going to go. You know, I just thought he's going to get sent off for that. And when I saw the red card, I just thought, oh god, you know, that could have literally changed everything. We lost him for 3 games, which was straight red, and the penalty would have lost 2 points. But I mean, I just think he's getting a real bad press at the moment. He has made a few errors, but so has Saliba. But no one is criticised Saliba one bit because he's the flavour of the month.
They are
And
now.
I don't want to criticise Saliba because I think he's magnificent as well. But we've got 2 great young centre backs forming a really good partnership, in my opinion. I just wish we could support them both equally because they both make mistakes. Everyone's human. Everyone makes mistakes. They are young for centre backs. But they're growing game by game, I think, together. Gabriel mopped up a lot of the things that Saliba had done wrong, you know, in that game. But that goes unnoticed, in my opinion. But what's your thoughts about him? Are you sort of down on him at the moment?
With Gabriel, I think he's a fine player. I'm so glad we got him when we did. He's what an upgrade on what we used to have a couple of years ago. The pair of them, fantastic. But I know that Saliba made mistakes, which is unusual for him. The difference I've got with Gabriel is that what he did on, was it Sunday or Saturday?
Sunday.
Sunday. What he did on Sunday. What he did on Sunday, to me, he gets no free ride from him on that. It wasn't as if he misclicked the ball, misplaced it, missed a tackle. He did something that was a personal thing to him only. It was a one-on-one with Bamford, and he wanted to get his own back on Bamford. And that's a split-second decision, but it was a reaction that's only good for him. It reminded me of the holding against Spurs when he's having a battle with Son. He should have had a battle with Son. He should have played for the team. I thought that split-second, Gabriel, hope he learns by it. It's nothing to do about you, mate. It's how you do it for the team. If it was going to help the team out, but you flicking out, I can understand it. It was never going to help the team. It was only going to get him in trouble. So he's got to get that out of his out of his habits. But what people say, well, Vieira did it. Now, Vieira did it. We had an enormous rivalry between Arsenal and Man United. Van Nistelrooy was the lowest. I know we're playing this Thursday. He was a nasty bit of work. He liked to give it. He used to cry when people gave it back to him. Right? And that built up over the years with United. It was an explosion. It was horrible. It was, I can't imagine what it would have been like on that pitch with the rivalry and what goes on. I know it was a tough game on Sunday. I know that things were getting heated a bit, but not to that extent. There was what did he hope to achieve by flicking out? That's my point. I know we all make mistakes, but it wasn't a footballing mistake. It was a mistake to do with him personally against the centre forward. Now, Bamford got off lightly, in my opinion.
Yeah, he did.
Should have done retrospectively for cheating when he went down holding his leg and ran out a second later. And I'm thinking Gabriel really is lucky not to keep the red card because nothing changed. Just because he got fouled first means it's not a penalty. It doesn't mean he shouldn't get a red card for doing what he did. I'm glad he didn't get it. But I think, Sam, you might know better than me on this. I think, I don't know the law very well on that because it changes every 2 seconds, doesn't it? Like the Conservatives do. But I'm saying, by flicking out, if that's a red card, if it is a red card, Sam, what I'm asking, just because the other geezer fouled him, doesn't give him the right to do it.
No, you're right.
But he didn't make contact. That's why they watched it back and back and back.
Against United, he didn't make contact.
He still went to do it.
It was intense. I don't think he gets contact as well, Sam. I don't know. Can you get?
The law says it. You don't need to make contact. It's about dangerous play. As long as it's dangerous play, you're putting someone else in danger. Physical danger or potential for physical harm. That's it's supposed to be a red card offence. But it's like you're saying, Melvin. There's no need for him to do it.
But don't you think he pulled out? Just fractionally. I think I said this to Ryan yesterday because I've watched it back a lot of times. And I think he realises what he's doing as he's doing it and just stops himself from fully committing to what he's doing. Now, I'm not defending him saying that's not, that's right. But I think that saved him just slightly because he didn't make contact and Bamford play acted. And because Bamford play acted and committed the initial foul, I think that's what saved him from being red. But I totally agree with what you said, Melvin. You've made some really good points. I do think it was a selfish act, and that needs to be ironed out of his game. And I just hope that when we all watched the documentary on Amazon, that they do have these one-to-one sessions with these players and do show them where they've been going wrong. I really hope this is happening a lot with Gabriel at the moment, because I do agree. Again, you said I think he's a magnificent player. He just needs to iron out this bit of petulance in his play, because
happened with Man City at home, didn't it? He got 2 yellow cards in a very short period of time at Man City at home.
And
That's what I was going to say. It's not the first time he's done it.
No, exactly.
I think it's something he's got to improve on.
Definitely, 100, and I really hope that they're spending time on him to do that, because it'll be such a shame for him to be sullied by this. Because I think he's a really terrific defender who's only going to get better over the next few years as well.
I think he would have been very unlucky. I think he would have been very unlucky had he got sent off, just because the linesman didn't have his batteries in his eyes on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
He paid his electric bill.
Because that night, how he gave that, nobody knows. Because he was square on. He must have seen that there was no contact.
Exactly.
He was in the best position.
I genuinely think if you watch it again, just have a think about what. So if you can probably just see something just going off in his brain as he's kicking out at him and thinks, oh, and he slightly stops himself. Just have a look, see if you agree with me when you get a chance, because I think that just saved him from doing something absolutely even worse, and actually making contact with him.
But we all know if that was Xhaka, that's a straight red and it don't get overturned.
Yeah. But do you know what? I mean, I heard another podcast. I think it was the usual one I talk about. Yeah. And Clive was saying about Xhaka, and something else you didn't really notice. He was the main peacemaker with all the refs during the second half, and he was doing it in a really respectful way as well, which is amazing.
I think I've got a theory. I think I don't know if you ever saw what's that, Dallas? Was it called Dallas years ago? That program when Bobby got taken away by the Martians and came back or something. I think it's a different person. He's actually a robot now. If you cut him, it's a mess with me. He's
twin brother.
I've changed my mind about him so much. I was, as you know, if you may remember, I wasn't his greatest fan. I stand by what I said at the time. At the time, he did what he did, and I didn't like it. But now, he's fantastic at the moment. All those words don't come out very easily about him, but they do. He's been fantastic, and I had to change my view completely. Absolutely.
I don't know a player that's changed their fan base so much, in that amount of time. Like I wasn't a great fan of Xhaka either, and I have to hold my hands up. Like, I'll be honest, I never thought I'd be in the ground hearing Arsenal fans sing his name.
No, can you imagine? Like, I've said this to Ryan, so apologies, Ryan, for saying it again. But with you guys, do you know when Leicester won the league, they were going to make a film about Jamie Vardy and his sort of rise to fame and everything? Do you remember that?
They made one about Xhaka, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. Can you imagine if they did one about Xhaka's redemption story from the last few years? I wonder
who plays Xhaka.
And if it leads him to lifting the Premier League trophy at the end of this season, can you imagine that film? That'd be one to watch.
We can only dream.
I know. Can you imagine
Neeson.
the turnaround? I mean, who would play Xhaka? I mean, that'd be a
Danny Dyer.
Danny Dyer. You have to learn like a German accent.
Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson.
with the Irish twang of a Swiss accent.
Yeah, exactly.
Got a special set of skills.
Either that or Tom Hardy.
Whispering that in.
I get red cards a lot.
That'd be amazing.
Everyone's just start calling him Liam Xhaka now, aren't they?
I bet he leans over and whispers into the referee's ear, like, I have a special set of skills.
I will find you, and I will kill you.
You will probably send off. Yeah.
I reckon he does now what they do that in court. Now that say if I may speak, like before he talks to the referees, he says, if I may speak, I think that's not the greatest decision for us to do catchphrase, if I may speak.
I'll say this personally, Rev. I think he made a mistake.
With his hand just slightly gripped around his neck.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I can't think of a better turnaround of a player, honestly.
No, I can't, to be fair.
In any sport,
There
you
was
know,
one
not
years
just in
ago
football.
at Arsenal, but that was a guy called Willie Young. I don't know if you know
Yeah.
the name.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He came from Tottenham. And I think the last game, got sent off, kept fouling us. We were hating him then. He joined us, hating him. First game at home, he gave away a penalty. I think we got beat 4-1 to Ipswich. And he wasn't the favourite of the fans, if you're a clue. And he turned it around and became a cult hero.
yeah, I did. Yeah. I was thinking the guy from Naked Gun movies,
Leslie Nielsen.
Gunner. Unfortunately, he's passed away, but that'd be amazing if it was.
Leslie Nielsen.
I love the Naked Gun movies; they're fantastic.
And she had
Leslie
David
Nielsen's a
Jason
legend.
play Jack. I think as Del Boy or something.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll have to have get our thinking caps on, get a whole cast put together. That'd be amazing.
EU fouls wins.
Can I say that we went down easily at Bamford. I said this today. I reckon after him doing that, I reckon Spurs will buy him in the January transfer window.
Yeah,
Bit in there.
The perfect Kane replacement.
He fits
Yeah.
in.
Well, he's got his bedtime stories to do, isn't he? Now?
God, I mean, do they have subtitles on CBeebies?
Well, they have to now.
I don't know, but when I heard he was doing that, I was like, Mr. Tumble's got a lot of worries now. If our Harry boy's on the scene.
Well, you'll see a hand come round to the other side of the camera every now and then, like that, with a cloth, wiping the spit off the camera.
Oh, Harry
during-
Tumble. That's what I call it.
during the bedtime story. Sorry about the spit.
Gives us people with disabilities a bad name. He does.
Let's move on anyway, because I think we've done the game. I think the game's obviously been a few days ago, but I think we can all agree we're really happy with the 3 points. We're really happy that we're top of the league by 4 points, which is incredible. Gives us an opportunity to lose a game and still be top, which we don't want to
Well,
do.
I'll say
Obviously,
about
but
Saliba quickly.
nice
Is that
buffer.
I know he made a few mistakes.
oh yeah, go for it.
But I have seen Arsenal fans laying into him a little bit. Like, he's not going to play every game perfect. And I don't understand when an Arsenal player makes a mistake. Like, it's the biggest mistake in the world. Like, and it's a bit like Gabriel. He's made a couple of dodgy, like, he's put himself in dodgy positions, but they just slag him off to the hilt. Not everyone. There's certain specific Arsenal fans, but like Saliba, what is he, 20, 21?
21.
Yeah, so he's still young and his first season. So I just think people just need to lay off of him a bit. Maybe, obviously, Arteta and, like you say, the one-to-one stuff, they'll be working on trying to iron that out of his game. But no professional footballer has perfection games for the whole season.
No, exactly. And they've only had 10 games together as a centre half pairing. It's
And they still kept a clean sheet,
promising.
even though they made all these mistakes.
You know what?
They
If anyone's
complement each
complaining
other.
about Saliba, they'll start watching cricket, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I want to make it 100% clear. I don't want any kind of criticism for either of them, to be honest with you. The one thing I've loved about this season is the support of the players when they have made mistakes. Like when Saliba did the own goal, and they're backing him and chanting his name again. I just want it to be equal between the both of them, if that's not too much to ask. You know,
I did think Ramsdale.
Why can't we
was
back
brilliant.
Gabriel when he makes a mistake the same way that we back Saliba? So it'd just be nice, wouldn't it? And
I thought Ramsdale was the one who made me laugh. He don't give a shit, does he?
I know.
Have you seen
Videos.
Have you heard the video? Yeah, literally at full time, he turns and starts giving it to the Leeds fans. Again.
There's no player that does that. Like, to hit the level, the biggest shithousery has got to be Ramsdale. If there's a trophy for that, he's got to win it.
Well, he's obviously from Sheffield United as well. He's a big player for Sheffield.
He was giving Bamford a bit of verbal after the penalty miss, wasn't he?
It was.
He got literally sprung up and run into his face and screamed in his face.
I mean, come on, that ain't bad. I don't mind that at all.
That's great. I genuinely think he would have saved that penalty as well. You know, he was right across the goal.
He was there. Yeah.
So he had a fantastic game. I think he's probably back to his best. He is. But to me, we've got this game coming up now on Thursday. Luckily, it's a home game, but the game on the following on Sunday is another away game on the South Coast where we haven't really played very well for the last few seasons, to be honest, have we? Away to Southampton. We've had some tough games there. So it's the squad. I wouldn't say it's like really thin or anything like that. We've got much better depth than we had last season, I think, anyway. But I think he's going to go strong again on Thursday. I don't know what you guys think. I mean, I'll come to you first, Melvin, on this. Just see what your thoughts are. Because I think he's going to want to win the group in this game. Because if we win this game, we've won the group regardless. So I think he's going to go quite strong again, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he will go strong because if we win the group, then we don't play another round, do we? We miss out a round.
No, exactly.
So I think he will go strong. I think if we beat PSV and we win the last home game to get back away to PSV, we're still top. We're not top if we win against PSV. We don't necessarily come top. We've got to do that and something else. It might be another point or three.
Yeah.
Against the other Sevilla. Who's the other team?
Zurich.
Zurich, yeah.
We've got Zurich at home. And they've been the whipping boys, yeah.
So I think he will go with a strong team. And to see what's left of Sunday. It's different the Sunday game against Southampton. And as you say, we haven't got a great record at Southampton. We really haven't.
No.
I mean, we beat them a couple of seasons ago when Eddie scored. He took it off the goalkeeper's foot, and Willock, I think, got the second one. I think Willock from a free kick, like come back out to him. But I mean, we didn't actually play that well that day. That was the one where Ozil had the umbrella up. Do you remember?
Yes, yeah, yeah.
The stand.
That was so bad.
For some reason, we can play Southampton. We've done that a couple of times when they're absolutely useless.
Right now,
useless, and they will beat us. They'll have a run of not scoring a goal in 7 games, and they score 3. So many times that's happened. So I remember.
They had quite a good result at the weekend, didn't they? I think they drew
1-1 against West Ham.
Yeah, they shouldn't have got that.
Was that right? You remember what?
I was going to say, I remember a few years ago. I think it was either the 16-17 Leicester won the year. Leicester won the title. Sorry. We were top of the league going. I think it's Boxing Day away to Southampton. Top of the league in form. Southampton had got on a run of like 5-6 winless games. Got nothing like point wise. Nothing.
Yeah.
And then it was his first game in charge.
And it came Boxing Day. We're going right. Yeah, we're going to get the points. Got done 4-0.
Was that the one, Ryan, where they're right back hit a worldie to open the score?
Yeah. Against Petr Cech in goal, yeah.
We lost the first game because we played them.
Just when he scored that goal, we should have given up football. That's it.
Yeah. Mic drop, and just walked out. Yeah.
Was that good goal? It was fantastic.
It was, yeah, but it wasn't. I don't know whether that was.
It weren't Cedric,
first game in charge.
It wasn't Cedric.
But we lost this. He took over, and we lost the first game against him as well. Away when he first took over the job at Southampton.
I just don't like us playing Southampton away.
That was 3-2, I think.
Yeah, I think it was 3-2.
I think that goalkeeper made a mistake in the air for the last goal or something. Missed it in the air, and the geezer headed it in.
Yeah.
Exactly. Charlie Austin as well.
That's it. Charlie Austin.
Nightmare. But you never know what you're going to get. I said this yesterday on Ryan's show. They can be really good, Southampton, on their day, but it's not very often they have their day. But sometimes they look like the old Leeds United under Bielsa. They press and they run and they harry and they're all over you, swarming. But they only have that maybe one in every 4 or 5 games, unfortunately for them and their fans. But yeah, it's really tough to know which Southampton you're going to be facing because sometimes they can just be dreadful and dire. So just keep our fingers crossed. But if we get,
they've got Bournemouth tomorrow, haven't they, as well? So
yeah, they have. Bournemouth are in a good run of form as well, aren't they?
Yeah, going for a Conference League under Gary O'Neill.
Exactly. So anyway, I'll come to you, Sam. What's your thoughts about the lineup then? Because like me and Melvin said, I do think he's going to go quite strong. Do you think it's going to be a similar sort of lineup to what he's been fielding so far in the Europa League, or do you think he's going to change it up a bit more?
I think he's going to try and go as strong as he can within reason. So I think we're going to see just about everyone who's feels he's fit enough to play and also play on Sunday. Because I do think we want to win this game at home against PSV. Because like you say, if we win that, we pretty much won the group then and everything. So it's important to do that. It gives us an easier way forwards in the tournament. So yeah, I do think we'll go with a very strong lineup. Probably not our absolute full first 11 because I don't think we'll see Ramsdale in goal. He'll probably continue with Turner. We might see a change in defence. Yeah, I think pretty much everywhere else will. I don't know. Maybe we'll change one of the front three, give one of them a rest. But yeah, I think we'll go with a strong team.
Yeah, I think one of either Saka or Martinelli is going to play in the front three. I think it's probably going to be Martinelli because I think Saka started the last game on Thursday in the Europa League, so maybe he'll rotate them a bit more.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to come to you, Ryan, because the other thing I wanted to talk about before I forget is these Tomiyasu playing left back situation. I don't think he had his best game at all at the weekend at left back, but I don't think anyone really did in the second half, did they? I mean, everyone played a bit poorly. But, I think Kieran Tierney can feel quite hard done by. I think Tomiyasu had an amazing game against Liverpool. It was a tactical thing that he put him in there. It worked like a dream. And I think he got rewarded, didn't he, by keeping his place at left back against Leeds. And I don't think that was the right decision myself. Nothing against Tomiyasu at all, but I think Tierney would have worked out a bit better. How do you think it's going to go sort of moving forward? That would, when we're talking about the game in the Premier League on Sunday, do you think he's going to revert back?
It depends on who starts and how they play on Thursday, to be honest, because we also got to remember Tierney, obviously he got injured at the back end of last season and missed a big chunk of the back end. And it did obviously, other injuries did cost us in the end for top four. Then in pre-season, half hour in, he'd come back game, he gets taken off injured again. I think Arteta's trying to be cautious and trying to ease him back in, get his fitness up back slowly. And when there was an interview over the weekend Tierney had on Sky, and he basically said, it was a tactical thing. I'm disappointed, but you know what? For the greater good and for everything it is, it worked out. So it is what I got to play anyway. It's not the end of the world. And I think, as you say, because Tomiyasu had such a good game against Liverpool and showed why he's such a good defender in general, and his one-on-one defending especially. That's why he played. And then I think for me, he wouldn't have had such a drop-off in performance, especially in the second half, Tomiyasu, if he hadn't come on the Thursday game. If he'd been completely rested, he might have seen a different performance overall. But I think him coming on, and again, we mentioned it earlier, players going out on Thursday, being either starting or being subs, coming back, no training, just warm down stuff, and then going into a competitive game again. And they say it wasn't just him. Jack, I mentioned it last night. Jack, there was moments in the Sunday game where the ball's been played across the pitch, and you can see he's trying to, but his body's so tired. It's like, no, you can't. You ain't got that energy. We ain't got the energy for you to do that now. So you need rest. It's like your body's screaming for rest, and you can't do it because obviously you're in a competitive game. And I think we're going to see. I think in terms of Thursday, I think Xhaka, I think we'll be on the bench again just as a precaution. We'll see Partey alongside Partey and Sambi as who's also got an experienced man in the pivot. But yeah, I think in terms of how the Tierney situation is going to play out, I think it's just a slow and gradual thing. And I think Arteta's just being cautious because of Tierney's injury issues, not just since he walked through the door at Arsenal, but prior to him coming to Arsenal, he was at Celtic.
Yeah.
And he's just been cautious now because he's been caught out now. He overplayed him. Not say overplayed him. He was over reliant on Tierney last year. Didn't have a proper, with all due respect to Nuno Tavares, didn't have a proper backup to Tierney, someone to keep him on his toes or come in and replace him adequately. And it comes back and bit us on the backside. I know we've got Zinchenko. I think he's due back soon. But we just need we needed someone, and someone like versatile as Tomiyasu to just come in the meantime while Zinchenko's out, just to keep things going, the plan going along as it is. And as I say, ease Tierney back in, get his fitness up slowly and gradually, and then come the new year after the World Cup. I think we'll see more of Tierney because obviously he'll have the whole. He's not going obviously with Scotland, so he ain't going to the World Cup. So we're going to see a lot more Tierney, I say, in the aftermath of the World Cup because he'll be completely, touch wood, fit unless he gets injured between now and then.
Yeah, well, let's hope not. But yeah, that's true. And George, let's have a word about the match winner, Bukayo Saka. He's had a bit of grief previously for his form this season, but the last 3 games we've played, Liverpool, Bodo Glimt, and Leeds, he's won us every single game, hasn't he? It's been down to him. Once again, leading the line fantastically well. I mean, what a goal he scored with his wrong foot, by the way, against Leeds. It was just a fantastic finish, wasn't it? Great pass by Ødegaard. But yeah, I mean, totally overlooked by the Ballon d'Or panel, committee, whatever you want to call it, finishing 8th, which is a joke. But for us, he's priceless, isn't he?
Yeah, he definitely got overlooked with the Ballon d'Or Tea Party or whatever it's called. But like with Saka, like I've said it all season. I know people have been on him about his foot. I've not really understood it because even at the start of the season, he was still setting up goals. Right? He wasn't scoring, but he was still setting them up, and that's one thing that they've been working on. That he converts his chances into goals. And has he got 5 this season already?
Yeah, I think he's equal with Jesus now.
Yeah, so I think a lot of Arsenal, most of Arsenal's play goes through Saka. I'm not saying that he's the only one who does anything because we have Martinelli, Ødegaard, and stuff like that. But a lot of it absolutely runs through that smoothness of Saka. Like you said, the shot he took was with his wrong foot, and he's definitely been practicing that. Because I can't remember, I was listening to it, but someone said he'd been practicing that in training, and he's put about 7 out of 10 of them over the bar. So obviously the practicing, working on the pitch. I just think Saka, the ceilings is so it's just limitless. People say world class, and I think he's there already. People might think I'm being biased or over the top with that, but I think on his day, Saka is, when people go on about the youngsters that are playing in the Premier League, he's either the best youngster or he's definitely up there.
Definitely. Yeah, 100%. Well, like I said, Melvin, he got us the last 3 wins on the trot, hasn't he? So what more can we say about this young guy? We've got to get him signed up. I also heard, by the way, that Ramsdale is going to be looking at getting a new contract as well offered to him, which is good news already. But we've got to get Saka signed up, haven't we, as soon as possible? But
need Martinelli signed up as well.
Martinelli as well, and Saliba. So there's a few of them. But it's great that we're looking to get all these guys tied down so that we can really properly build this winning team. They can grow together over the next few years, this young team. It's fantastic, isn't it? But let's have a word about Saka. I can't leave you out of that conversation. I mean, for those listening in audio, by the way, you've got to watch, because Sam is literally just rolling his eyes. He's going to fall asleep any second. I don't know whether I'll be able to go to him after I've spoken to Melvin, but we'll see. Sorry, carry on, Melvin.
No, Saka's a wonderful player. I mean, you've got to remember the last couple of seasons, a youngster like him had 2 or 3 people on him the whole time. This season, they can't afford to do that too much. We've got danger from other areas. So it's worked in his favour and the team's favour. But he's got so much stronger. He shields the ball so much better now. When he's got his back to the defender, he pulls the ball around so much better. Yeah, he's going to miss goals. He's missed a few this year on his right foot because he's naturally, ball's coming from the left, the natural foot to kick it with is your right foot, and he's not naturally right-footed. But we can compensate for that for all the other great things he does. No, he's a wonderful player. You talk about signing up players now, getting their contracts sorted out. Hopefully, Arsenal will realise they can't be skinflints on this. Because whether they give someone 150 grand a year or 200 grand a year is irrelevant on the basis that they could go another. In the next 5 years, we might only have to buy 5 players, if that. Maybe we didn't have to do that. We've got such a young team now that are good, very, very good players. We can run with these. Yes, you've got to make a change every so often, but you've got to remember we've got people potential coming through. You've got Patinos of this world and a couple of others I could mention. So we're in a position now that we don't have to spend. I mean, I don't know what they're doing in January. There's all these rumours going around, obviously, because people want to sell newspapers and all that. But hopefully we do get people in January. But the thing is that going forward, we don't have to make 4 buys every year, 3 at the summer, 1 in the winter, just to keep the engine oiled. We've got it there now. We just need to tweak it every year, which is a fantastic position to be in. As I say, they're very young. So if you're looking at the expenditure, they can actually push out the boat more and get on getting these contracts done.
Yeah,
and let's hope they wake up to see where they really are, to realise, hold on, we've got this. We don't have to pay for anything else. This is it. We've got the finished article in front of us. We're saving so much money and nil risk because you know what you've got because you've got it. So let's hope they realise that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you
I
can't
thought that was Arteta winning then.
You can't discount the love and they've got for the club. These young players that have come through as well, like Saka, they actually genuinely have got deep feelings for the actual club, not just buying them and giving them big wages so they come to us. They want to be here, and that's a massive thing as well. We'll save.
They got agents, Andrew. They got agents. That's the problem.
Exactly. That's the.
You can't be complacent and go. You know, they love the club. They love the club. They probably do. If they got an agent in their ear saying, you know, you get 100 grand a week because the agent's going to get 10% or whatever they get of that, you've got to be wary of that.
Exactly. That's why Hutchinson left to go to Chelsea in the summer. Because his agent
he left to go to Reading on loan.
Yeah,
he hasn't stopped playing for Chelsea, has he, Hutchinson?
No, he's doing really well.
Yeah.
He was actually on the bench for Reading. So
Unbelievable. Sam, Melvin just touched on it there, and that was going to be my next question. Is January? We can't let this opportunity pass us now, can we? If we've got plans for next summer, you've got to bring them forward wherever you possibly can for this January, more than ever because of the World Cup, injuries. It's going to cost fatigue in the rest of the season. We've got to learn from what happened last January, haven't we? And really try and strengthen this January. And do you think we will?
It's difficult because what kind of striker are you going to get? Because Jesus is doing so well. He's going to want to be our main man. You got to find someone who's comfortable being, you know, in second position, basically learning his trade, but you know, not taking away the limelight from Jesus. It's a difficult situation because that type of player is difficult to find because very often if you find a second string striker, so to speak, they're not necessarily going to be at the level you want. You know, they're not going to be banging in those goals, giving you what they want. But that being said, we do need a striker anyway. So for me, even if we do go after that second string striker, you know, it would be better than having no one. We need to have someone in the squad who can go in, score a few goals. And okay, if they're going to be missing a few chances, they're not going to be so clinical. That's just the way it is. I'd much rather have an extra person, an extra striker in the squad than not, to be honest, because our only alternative is, like you say, if we don't do it, we're going to have to be moving players around. Like, if say Jesus is injured, and Nketiah's injured or whatever, you know, what are you going to be doing? What are you going to be doing? You've got to be moving Martinelli maybe into the middle, or maybe try Saka through the middle. You know, it's doing things you don't really want to do. So we definitely do need that like second string striker who can come in and, you know, make someone young, you know, fits the profile, young, up and coming, maybe, you know, someone who's talented, not in the tail end of their career, but yeah, no, it's a difficult one. But I in January, I would like to see us buy a striker. Yes.
Yeah, and midfielder, I think, as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can. For me, the key backup player we need, is someone who can push Partey a bit. You know, someone who can rotate a bit more with him. I don't think we have a real replacement for Partey. Sambi's not the same type of player. El Nenny's not that type of player, and El Nenny's going to be out for a while, but he's not that type of player. So we don't really have that strong, dynamic type of defensive midfielder that Partey is. So we definitely need to buy someone like that, because we see if we miss Partey, we struggle, because we need to change, you know, the makeup of our midfield. We need to change the way it's set up, and we shouldn't necessarily have to do that.
No, I think long term, Miguel Aziz needs to start getting some chances maybe next season. Fingers crossed.
He's in Ibiza, isn't he?
He's in Ibiza, yeah. Like,
What
he's
a
got
guy.
glow sticks up every single night. But no, he looks like he could be the business, but he will just have to be gradually edged into the team through the Europe and cup competitions, etc. So he's not going to be ready straight away. But I really do think we need someone. And Douglas Luiz, who we went for in the summer quite strongly, he's only going to have 6 months left.
He signed
January.
a new deal.
Signed another contract.
Oh, did he? Oh, right.
Yeah.
That passed me by. So that
5-year deal he signed.
Oh, what a mug.
Thank
What a
God.
mug.
I did.
That passed. Yeah, that passed me by anyway. So that one's out of the question. So yeah, we're going to have to start having a look, because
There's someone called Jude Bellingham.
Yeah, I would love 2 midfielders. In all honesty, I do genuinely think that'd be quite. We're going to be losing El Neni in the summer. I'm almost certain. So we need to start building the squad now. But I think if we've got plans for the summer, we need to bring them forward.
It's difficult in January, though, isn't it? January is always difficult, because it's that in between, you know, window where players don't really want to move in January. It's only players who
don't want to sell.
I just think it's going to be such a different window. It's going to be a different window than we've ever seen in January, though, after the World Cup, I believe.
It could be. It's still in the middle of the season, though, isn't it? That's the thing. It's still
but
players are settled in. I don't think they're going to want to move halfway through the season. A lot of players, unless they're really upset. You might get a player who's really upset.
Your name's Ronaldo.
Yeah, Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Or Aubameyang.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could be having his 6-monthly move, couldn't he?
I think it's going to be harder. I think it's going to work the other way. I think it's going to be harder because of the World Cup, because it's going to be so broken up. I don't think any club's going to want to really sell anyone. Like I've seen we've been linked with I always get his name wrong. Tacatelli, whatever his name is.
Tacatelli, yeah.
The midfielder from Juve. But Juve are in so much debt, they have to sell. But I just don't. I don't know. Maybe it's me. And I know everyone goes on about Tielemans, but there's got to be a reason that Arsenal didn't go for that. Like, he was twerking for us all summer, and we just didn't touch him. So there's got to be a reason.
You see the way he played
Yeah,
that might have been the reason, but
yeah. I mean, has it passed me by?
He was poor as well. I watched him against Spurs. He was a disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is about the World Cup, which is probably the only good thing in my opinion about the World Cup, is that they're going to have a few weeks to try and start getting all this sorted out, haven't they? Back at the club, because
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, I'm just dreading this World Cup. It's going to be like the worst international break ever. You know,
I can't
it's
wait
going to
for
be
it
so
when we get
inconvenient.
up in the group stages.
This season of all seasons, though, when we're top of the league, you know, and going really, really well, then it just suddenly has to stop for 6 weeks or something.
Ramsdale,
nightmare.
Ben White are going to get a suntan sitting on the bench in Qatar. It's brilliant.
Yeah, well, that's the one positive thing, that most of our players aren't going to be first choice starters for their team countries, apart from maybe Saka and possibly even Saliba, the way things are going.
Xhaka.
And Xhaka, yeah.
I don't know
Yeah,
if
you're
Japan are in the World Cup, are they?
No, Japan aren't in it, I don't think.
Oh,
No.
good. Tommy can stay at home.
It's weird.
Yeah.
I just can't wait for it to all finish, to be honest with you.
I don't even think Martinelli will make. I know that sounds crazy, but I don't know if he'll make. He definitely won't make their first 11 because the options they've got, but he might not even make that squad.
Exactly.
And Jesus might not necessarily start because of Vinicius Junior. So,
Yeah.
for me, I want all Arsenal players not to go. If there's a ban on Arsenal players, yeah, I'm well up for that.
Yeah, it's like, well, BX has just reminded me Partey as well, but I mean they're unlikely to get out of the group. Let's be honest with you.
But for the amount of games they've got to play in the group is enough for Partey.
Yeah. Well, you might get stung by a wasp or something, and that'll keep him out.
Yeah, a bit of that. It's not Lacazette.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. But well, just honestly, we're the same boat as everyone else. I think other clubs may be even worse situation than we are when it comes to all the players that they're losing to go to the World Cup. So we just have to keep.
Yeah, not many players really that are going to be going deep into the World Cup.
No.
Really, do we? So
what may want to worry about are Saka and Saliba, really, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm not sure about how much Jesus is going to play for Brazil. You know, and you've got Saka, like you say, Xhaka's not going to go far. Saliba for France, maybe.
I'm saying that, and they'll get in the semi-finals. You watch.
So I think it's actually a good thing for our players. They're actually going to get some rest.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be good for most of our players.
Is Gabriel in the Brazil squad?
He will probably be fourth choice centre back, so he ain't going to play. He might go, but he won't play.
And obviously,
I've heard
Zinchenko are not going, so that's good.
No, that's good. That is positive. Have you heard that we're going to be going back to Dubai for warm weather training whilst it's on, and we're going to have some friendlies against who was it? You or AC Milan and Lyon, to name them two.
Well, keep them busy a bit, won't it?
Yeah. They need to keep playing, don't they? Because you think it's going to be really great for our players to have if the ones that aren't going to the World Cup, they're great to have 6 weeks off. They can rest, but that's not good for them when they're in the middle of a season. They need to keep their legs moving. Apparently, it's not good.
And my friend who's watching said Matt Turner as well is going to the World Cup.
Oh yeah, well.
We won't have any Europa League games till March, I don't think.
You'll have to be very unlucky to lose a goalkeeper as well, but I mean, it's possible, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one. I usually like the World Cup. Let's be honest.
That'll be fine, mate. Saka will be back by the second week.
Yeah, Southgate in charge.
It just feels wrong watching a World Cup just before Christmas. It just doesn't feel.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
It's absolutely ridiculous. It's like you shouldn't be in that country. It's like having the Winter Olympics in London.
Yeah. In July. Yeah. Bring them to the Snow Dome in Tamworth, do it all there in the middle of July and August.
The only thing in Tamworth, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It is in Tamworth. I've been there. It's quite good actually. Tobogganing and when you sit in those tubing, you called it. That's good fun. Anyway, I digress. I digress. But yeah, it's time to sort of wrap it up there. I know that you've got to go, Melvin, as well after an hour, but I think that touched on everything I wanted to do. So I just wanted to thank everyone for coming on. I know it's short notice for you, so thanks ever so much, George, Melvin, and you, Sam, especially because you're
No worries.
coming on at short notice. It's been fantastic to catch up with you all again. Hopefully, it's
Right.
not so long till we see you again next time.
Yeah, hopefully.
And Ryan, thanks again as always for coming on. Been a pleasure, mate.
So see you tomorrow, yeah?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, why not? Eh? Fucking keep it up. Thanks to everyone in the chat, Stefan, BX, and Taib, everyone else, Russ, BX, I already said, some white weird person called Mr. Arsenal Podcast, Claire, and everyone else. But yeah, thanks everyone for your comments. Please give us a like before you go, and tune in next week for more of the same. So once again, thanks everyone, and goodbye.